All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on? Nades, Little Neck, Paraby, Jonathan. Hope everybody out here doing well with my man Rio talking some hoops. Had a little fake out last week thinking it was maybe our last NBA show. That's not the case. We are taking you all the way to the end of the season, which is April 10th in the regular season. Of course, nothing changes. Slate plan, core reports, it's the stone, everything you need. Under the NBA tab, we have you covered, and this will not change going all the way to the playoffs. MLB is back in action, though, so we're going to have double headers pretty much every single day. There's a relevant slate for both, which is, I believe, almost every day except Thursday MLB this week, next week. But we're on at 4 Eastern. MLB, comes on right after at 5 Eastern, so no need to go anywhere. Just flip over to that. Our man, Big Nades, will be on that show. And we're talking NBA today, but do have to say one more thing about MLB. The man, the myth, the legend down below, Hebrewcheetah banks 100,000 big ones to start the year in the flagship in the MLB street. So congrats to you, Rio. Good seeing you on this fine Monday afternoon, and it has to be going well, right?
Yeah, doing good. I feel like whatever happens the rest of the season for me, for MLB, if I do good or bad, won't really matter because I think that's pretty cool just to kind of ship on opening day. But obviously, looking forward to the rest of the season for MLB and then rest of NBA. But yeah, I had a good weekend. Did some golf yesterday. Nice relaxing weekend, but ready to get back to it.
I love it. Good relaxing weekend over here as well. Yeah, UConn, that was painful for the survivor streets for me over here. But hey, you can't win them all. Jose's in here. Nate D, Daryl, good to see a lot of people. And yeah, that chipper that you had, the Brew Crew, it was everyone's favorite stack on the show. G Ryzen, Nades, so good stuff there. Terry in here, Mr. Reichland. How was golf in Rio? Hebrew golfing. Now love to see it, but I will ask you, how did you shoot?
I played a really tough course, and I'm also not very good, so not great. But
right.
Yeah, just kind of going there for the vibes.
Yeah, no, I'm with you too. That's what I always go out. Hope to hit a couple good shots. My short game is absolutely pathetic, and hit it off the tee once in a while, though.
I did get a birdie, so I'll say that.
Hey, there you go. A birdie. If I get a couple pars or like one birdie on this session, that's a win for me. So yeah, that's the type of golfer I am. No one's like our man Nades. I know Nades on the sticks for the golf streets and in real life is pretty good at it. So I appreciate everyone hanging out. All we ask, like button, subscribe button. 6 games on DraftKings, 8 games on FanDuel, as you can see on DraftKings. 7 p.m. Eastern, it's a 2-hour window. 9 p.m. Eastern is the last main slate game. Don't forget, we still do have Showdown NBA content. So if MLB or NBA is not going your way as much early, I guess that's the wrong way to look at it. Chasing's never good. But hey, just say you can't be around your computer for these 2 hours. You wouldn't be watching the show. But just do know Monday through Friday, we do have Showdown coverage with our man Little Neck, who always does a great job right there. Any broad slate overview, Rio, before we go game by game?
Yeah, I think the slate's interesting because we have 2 games that I think are pretty big for the East. It's actually the 2 first games on the slate, and then kind of a smattering of like pretty big blowout concern games, but really good matchups for guys in Cleveland and San Antonio, and they have a really, really appealing implied team total. So I think that you kind of have to at least be considering those guys. But these first 2 games, I think, from a real life and maybe a little bit from a DraftKings perspective, I think look pretty good. And then obviously the games that are going to be blowing out, those are really good matchups for those teams.
Yeah, just looking at the spreads, like always, I'm seeing it 12.5, 18.5, 16.5, but we do have 7.5, 2.5, 1.5. And yeah, you mentioned the first 2 games that we'll be talking is the closest spreads on the slate. So let's get right into it. The Philadelphia 76ers and the Miami Heat kicking it off. Philly, 2.5-point favorites. Big boy total, 244.5 in this one. On the Miami side, no Norm Powell, no injuries news on the Philadelphia side to talk about. You said you think this game has a little appeal for DFS. It mainly looks like the spend ups, maybe a couple possible mid-tier options with no Norm on the Heat side. But yeah, it mainly looks like spend ups on the Philly side. How do you see this first game?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing was that the Sixers got healthy over the weekend. We saw Maxey return and was full right away. They didn't really waste any time ramping up any of the guys, any of like Paul George, Embiid, or Maxey. Tyrese played 43 minutes in that game against Charlotte. Big win for them as well. And then Embiid and George both played 36 minutes apiece. Kelly Oubre also played 28 minutes off the bench. So that's pretty big for them getting towards the end of the season. And this is a really big game for the East in general. The Sixers are seventh right now, and Miami is ninth. And I think a win here would kind of solidify them in like that 7 to 8 range. So I think that they're going to be running a really tight rotation like they normally do. And we're going to get playoff like minutes from both sides in this game. Yeah, Miami's for the most part fully healthy. Obviously, no Norman Powell is going to condense usage a little bit in that second unit, but for the most part, they'll be pretty fully healthy. And Miami's not playing great right now. They've run into some pretty big issues on the defensive side of things. They're bottom two in defensive rating over the last 2 weeks. Philly is bottom 11. I think that they will get a little bit worse with Embiid out there, but Miami's been a little bit unlucky with their 3-point variance. I still think that they are a team that you want to attack with 3-point scoring, but they are giving up a lot more rim scoring as of late, so not good for them. Sixers posted a 125 offensive rating last game with Embiid, Maxey, and George back, and that three-man lineup has a 120 offensive rating this season, so really, really good offensive numbers for them. I do think that Miami will be able to put up points here because the transition defense for the Sixers has been a pretty big issue, and their pick and roll defense is also not great with Embiid out there. Miami is one of the top transition scoring teams in the NBA, so there's kind of like the clear spot to attack there. But for the Sixers side of things, I do think that all three of Maxey, Embiid, and Paul George are in play here. I think I do lean with Maxey though. I think that his matchup might be a little bit better. Embiid's gonna be going up against Bam. Bam's a really good defender, and then Khalil Ware. I don't think he's great, but they'll have a lot of size that they can throw at Embiid. Whereas Maxey will see Davion Mitchell. I do think is a pretty good defender, but over the last couple weeks, the Heat are bottom two, or they're dead last in DVP versus point guards. Don't really look at those numbers a ton at this point in the season, but I think that it is pretty noteworthy for a team like Miami because they've been playing so poor defensively. So I do think that if one of the guys between Embiid or Maxey is going to be going off, I would side with Maxey, and he just has such a high minutes ceiling and floor that's going to be really hard for him to kind of kill you for playing him because I do think that the just like his range of outcomes is a lot tighter on the floor side of things with the minutes upside that he has. So I'm pretty in on Maxey tonight. I think Embiid is still good, and I think Paul George is a guy to consider because you do want guys that kind of mainly are off-ball scoring options against the Heat, and Paul George has been, his usage just held up pretty strongly, even with Embiid and Maxey back. Took 19 shots last game, 22 against Chicago. That was his first game back, kind of getting him acclimated. But I mean, I don't know, the time off definitely worked in his favor. I think that he's going to be really fresh heading towards the end of the season. So I'm in on all three of those guys. Probably a max two situation there. For Miami, I think the price is good for Bam, but obvious foul risk going up against Embiid. But he did go for 56 DK points the last time that these teams faced, and I don't really think Embiid's that great of a rim protector. So I think that the matchup is pretty solid for Bam. Same thing for Hero. He's just a little bit too expensive, but he will get a little bit more usage with Norman Powell out tonight. But I think the guys I'm kind of honing in on are the cheaper options on Miami. So guys like Jaime Jaquez, Andrew Wiggins, and Pelly Larson, and even Davion, I think is a guy that you can consider because I think that the minutes might be really big for him. Just chasing around Tyrese Maxey, I think they might want to get close to matching those minutes together. But Wiggins and Pele are pretty good at 5.3 and 4.8K. Pele with shooting guard, small forward eligibility, his minutes upside is really big as well because Spoelstra just really likes him and he'll play him a ton if he is able to. So I think Pele is for sure in play. And I actually think that Khalil Ware might be an interesting option. Um, Obviously away from Bam because they won't really share in the court together that much, but there's a lot of foul risk coming Bam's way. So there's a chance that Ware is playing like 26 minutes tonight versus like 18 to 20 on a normal night. But I do think that those cheaper options, Wiggins and Pelly, are pretty good for Miami.
Yeah, and like you said, Davion, I would definitely throw him in there too at 4.5K. Heat offers some value. I do think that the ownership, I'm curious of your take. I feel like the Embiid and Maxey, like if people want to spend at center, I think a lot of people will go Wemby, and there's enough value on the slate. And there's also value centers that I think is probably Maxey that's going to be the highest owned 76er. Do you see it that way?
Yeah, probably. I think
Not
he's
that
gonna be
it'll
the
be
same.
crazy, maybe. Like if you like them, play them. I mean, there's enough spend ups to go around, but I think this would be something maybe like 25 and Embiid something like 15 or something. Do you see it like that?
Yeah, maybe Paul George ends up closer to Embiid, but I do think that Max will be the highest owned of the three.
And then what were your thoughts on Bam? You mentioned a tough defensive assignment, but if he can stay out of foul trouble, he's getting some ownership. Or do you just like the ownership discount, the price discount to wear and get direct leverage, hoping maybe Bam gets in foul trouble?
I think that's kind of like a large field MME type of thing. I don't know if in single entry you'd be kind of banking on that. But yeah, I think that Bam's good. I mean, 8.7K is a pretty good price tag, and we have seen really good upside from him. Obviously, the 83-point game, but even against Houston, he was really good in that one, and that was a tougher matchup. So I do think that he's in play for sure.
All right. Yeah, I mean it's a lot of big spreads on this slate. This is one that is supposed to be competitive, so hunting off a piece here and there, picking off a piece here and there looks like a pretty good idea. I think this is a slate. We talked about it. I think of the last show that we were on. It doesn't feel like a spot where I'm just going to have 6 pieces in one game. I think you're taking 2 or 3 for multiple different teams and building your roster more so that way than just one team or one game environment. So we'll see. We'll keep going through the games and see if it does play out like that. The next game on the slate. Actually, I wanted to say hi to our man Matt Bellman in chat as well. Good to see you, Matt. Next game, the Boston Celtics and the Atlanta Hawks. 2.5-point favorites to the Hawks. 223.5 total. In this one, you're probably wondering why the Hawks are favored. Well, there is no Jason Tatum today, and Keita is doubtful. As far as the Atlanta side, Jock Landale is questionable. Sorting by ownership in this game, there is not much that is showing. But I don't think that this is updated ownership. Like Luka
Yeah, I
Garza
I
with
think you need to refresh it because
I
the
did
Boston
just,
guys, yeah, I think they just ran an ownership update.
I was gonna say Jaylen Brown's getting owned. Kata's or Luka Garza without Kata is getting owned. Jaylen Brown without Tatum is getting ownership. See, I mean they updated it. I still don't believe Jaylen Brown's going to be 10% or Garza's going to be 21% necessarily. But yeah, the Boston guys are definitely getting some ownership due to the injuries. Yeah, I guess we'll just start right on the Boston side. Do you think these updated ownerships are updated enough, or do you think that's still definitely light?
I think Jaylen Brown's light. Actually, I think probably all three of Brown, White, and Pritchard are a little light. Um, yeah, I kind of agree with you there, but
Garza,
yeah,
21% because center has enough options.
no, that feels right.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess kind of starting there, like the Garza stuff is a little bit. It's tough to break down because I don't think that he's like a smash value play, even if he does start. He's had 4 starts this season, and one of those came alongside Keita, I believe. He was starting at power forward. But in the 3 other starts, he played 11, 10, and 15 minutes. So there's no guarantee that he's going to be playing like 25 to 30 minutes a night. But with all that being said, it's kind of hard to project him for low minutes. 'Cause I do think that if he is starting, he's tough to get away from just because he's so cheap and he is a guy that is a pretty solid permanent producer. But I do think that they're like I would probably try to find ways. I wouldn't want to go overboard with my exposure on him if I was doing MME. That's basically what I would say. I'd probably be more like around the field to slightly over, not like a 50% owned play by any means. Um, but yeah, Brown, White, and Pritchard are definitely guys I'm considering tonight. I think Jaylen Brown is pretty good here. I also still think that even though there's no Tatum tonight, I still think that Boston has most of the edge here. I was on them, was it last Friday? I think these teams faced off, and I kind of feel the same way. Like even with Tatum out, I still think that Boston has more ways to win this game because they still have really good team defenders. They have a really good coach. They have one of the best offenses in the league. And if Atlanta's not able to generate enough rim scoring, I think that it could go poorly for them. So I still think that Boston is the side here. But yeah, I'm pretty in on Brown. He's gonna have a tougher matchup against Dyson Daniels tonight. Went for 41 points against them earlier this season, and he is averaging just under 1.4 fantasy points per minute with Tatum and Kate off the court this season. So very, very solid spend up option, 9.5K. Very fine with him. Between White and Pritchard, I think I'm gonna side with Pritchard here. I think he's just in much better form. We're starting to see the 6 man of the year Pritchard that we saw last year. And Derek White, on the other hand, shooting the ball terribly, 6 for 31 from three over his last 5 games, just really struggling. And he goes through these types of swings a lot. So I'm probably just gonna be like a wait and see approach with White. He is the better permanent producer with all the on off stuff considered, but I just think that Pritchard is in really good form right now. So I'm in on him. fine with Baylor Shireman at 4.4K, should be playing a lot. I think that they could go small ball here with guys like Walsh or like Hugo Gonzalez. I think that these guys will be seeing more minutes than usual, so something to consider. Walsh is definitely a guy I'm considering at 3.4K for Boston. Atlanta, not much. I think the matchup is good for Nickeil Alexander-Walker and CJ McCollum in particular. I don't really know if they have the upside you need on this type of slate at these price tags, but Nickeil Alexander-Walker does have a pretty solid matchup here, and he's playing really good basketball right now. So I think he's a guy that I'm considering. And then Jalen Johnson, obviously, always in plays to spend up, but at 10.7K, you really need like 60 plus from him. Not sure he's going to do that against Boston. So I think the Celtics side is a lot more appealing than the Atlanta side tonight.
Yeah, and ownership, I mean, definitely reflects that. 4% is the highest we have any Hawk for, or I have our average. If you have the starter plan at with us over here, you with SaberSim, you do get Chip Nation and you get SaberSim's projections or the ultimate package. So I'm taking the average, and yeah, 4% owned is the highest Hawk. If I had to play one, I'd probably just play Jalen Johnson as a contrarian spend and hope he gets you 65 or 70 or something like that. But yeah, going based on projection wise, you're giving them up a lot. If you're spending all the way up, it's almost clearly Wemby, almost 10 points clear of Jalen Johnson. And then the Maxies of the world, the Jalen Browns, those are the two I think that'll be highest after that. But there's Bam. If you want to go Embiid or something, there's plenty of spends that we'll get to. But I think it's Wemby, Maxey are the two highest owned when people do go all the way up. For Boston, would you be fine playing? Yeah, I don't know. Probably Brown, Derek White, Pritchard. Like that's too many to go all three.
Yeah, it's almost always a max two of like the main four guys when Tatum's healthy for Boston.
And then
And
no
even
Sam
now.
House, no Hauser, no Shireman, nothing else besides Garza you don't even necessarily love.
I think that they're fine. I think for sure Shireman, Walsh, and Hauser are all guys that should be in player pools. I don't necessarily think that they're great value plays by any means, but I think that there's a chance one of those guys does something meaningful tonight.
All right. And yeah, you
I'll
can
also
easily play.
say, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say for people like you can play Jalen Brown and Pritchard and no Hawk. Like is you could play Garza in there, 3 Boston and no Atlanta Hawks. They're fully healthy, so it feels tough to get to them.
Something that I think that projection systems aren't great at like reacting to is when a guy like Keita or like when a really good defender is actually off the court for a team, because it's kind of you're kind of taking like DVP from the entire season when you're building out the projections. And I mean they are meaningfully worse without Keita on the court. They go from 109.8 defensive rating with him on versus 115.4 with him off. So that's a pretty big drop off. And so that's kind of like working in the direction of Jalen Johnson as a spend up option. I kind of agree with you. I think that he is good as a train spend up. You do have to kind of mess around with the projection a little bit more to get that to feel comfortable with him. But I think that he probably is slightly underprojected than where he should be.
Is there anything of like you play Jalen Johnson, you're more likely to play a Celtic or not really because the price, like the game's already supposed to be competitive. You can just hope that all 3 of them just have a mediocre game and do it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't necessarily think that it's something you got to force because he could be the only guy that has a good fantasy score in this game. Like that's not a really high team game total.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you compare it to the first game 243.5, this is 223.5. So
Yeah.
full 20 points less. It's the lowest on the slate. Yes, the lowest on the slate. I don't got too much more to add in this game, but before we do go to the next, I just want to show if you haven't checked us out over at shippination.com, this is the homepage, just shippination.com. It'll bring you right here. You go to the bottom left, join the nation. You can see our different options. The best deal, in my opinion, right now, just because so many sports going on. NBA is going on, PGA, always big prizes, MLB, of course, MMA, NASCAR, and NHL. You can check all of those sports out and SaberSim and access to the Discord. For $19, you get 5 days of action. You can build up to 150 teams. You can late swap. Again, Discord's included, a very big piece of our product. I mean, can't go wrong. $19 for all of the content up here. The prizes are massive, a lot of sports. But if you know you just want the NBA coverage, if you know you're just going to want NBA and then MLB, when it's all said and done, we do have single sport options as well. If you want all of this, you know you'll be with us for the long haul. You can see the different starter option versus core. Starter does get you SaberSim projections for all sports as well. The longer you're with us, the cheaper it gets. So yeah, join the nation. You can find all of our different packages. If you're just looking to give us a try, your first time checking it out, I do think this 5 days for $19 is probably your best bet. Next game on the slate, 30 minutes. And then again, start time, 7 Eastern, 1 at 7:30, 2 at 8, 1 at 8:30, 1 at 9. So not the most convenient that way, but hey, it's all within 2 hours at least. FanDuel added 2 extra games on the slate. I'm glad DraftKings left those off. Big spread in this one, the Chicago Bulls and the San Antonio Spurs, 18.5 point favorites. Are the Spurs 244.5 total in this one? On the Chicago side, we have no Anthony Simons, and then Nick Richards and Yabusele are both questionable. And on the Spurs side, no injury news to talk about. I mean, I was surprised to see a game that's 18.5 point spread getting this much ownership. Obviously, you just look at the team total, 131 for the Spurs is crazy. So they can get there in 3 quarters without a rotation and a half. But 18.5 is no joke. And there's Bulls guys like Colin Sexton. I think this ownership actually might even be light. Like some of these Bulls are getting a little bit of ownership as well. But these 2 Q tags, I mean, that's if they were both to miss, I'm not sure they will, but they'd be thin in the front court. So that would change some things. And yeah, I mean, you'll probably have roster spots open. You're not going to be like jam the first 2 games. You're going to play at some, but I assume that you're going to have decent amount of spots if they were both to be out to, I don't know what, this Ulbrich, Patrick Williams. Man, they'd be small. Wemby would absolutely dominate like he already will, but yeah, take it away.
Yeah, I don't really know about the injuries for Richards and Yabu, but yeah, you said, I mean, they're going to be really, really thin in the front court. I don't even think that they would play this Ulbrich guy much. Like they might just go, I think we've seen times in the past where they go with like Patrick Williams at the 5. They do have Leonard Miller. Yeah, he's just super, they'll be really small down there. I just don't see how Wemby doesn't smash either way, but they probably go with like a little bit of like Leonard Miller too. He's kind of like a wing that can probably play some small ball. But yeah, I mean, the thing that stood out to me was that the massive team total for the Spurs, 131, is crazy. I don't remember if we've seen any of that high before. But yeah, I mean, I just don't see a situation where Wemby doesn't do great here. I mean, this was a very similar matchup to last week. I think when he played Memphis, only played, what was it, 27 minutes, put up 63 DK points. I mean, I said on that show, I was like, I think he's going to go for probably 10 plus stocks. He had 3 steals and 7 blocks, so got that one right. Definitely would have been great to get maybe 3 more minutes out of him because he's probably going for 70 plus. But that's just the major concern about spending up for Wemby is that he's unlikely to play 30 plus minutes here. He did go for 75 against the Bulls earlier this season. But yeah, I think that he's probably gonna have to get it done in 3 quarters tonight because I just don't think that the Bulls are capable of keeping this game close. Like I think that Memphis is more likely to keep a game close. I honestly think that Utah can keep games closer. I just don't really see it for Chicago right now. But yeah, I think that Wemby is probably a guy that you'd want to get to a good bit tonight because I think that he does, especially the slate being smaller. I don't think that Wemby was needed on that slate. I forgot what day it was, but it was a pretty big one, and we did get some other big scores at the center position. So I think that the center position tonight is a little bit weaker than that one is, or that one was. So he could even go for 65 and that be on the winner here. But I think Castle's great. Put up a triple double with ease last game against the Bucks. I think that is something that could definitely happen here again. He's been shooting the ball a lot better as of late. De'Aaron Fox not shooting the ball great, so kind of more working in favor of Stephon Castle here. I think that he's a very interesting option at 7.4K. I think Fox he's got to be in play because the matchup's great, and he's only 6.5K. But I think that I just prefer Castle much more, and then probably even Harper for less. The minutes have come down for Harper, so I don't necessarily think that he's a must-have value play, but should be good. I mean, he's shooting the ball extremely efficiently right now. It's just the minutes haven't really been there. And then with how big the team total is for the Spurs, I think that you have to consider guys like Vassell at 4.6K. That's really cheap for him. Champagne's got to be in play at 4.5. Keldon for sure at 4.3K. I honestly think even like Barnes and Cornette should probably make a player pool. I see San Antonio having a lot of success here. Bulls side, it's pretty easy. I think it's just Sexton I'm considering tonight. Maybe that changes a little bit with Richard and Yabu missing, but yeah, I don't really think I want to mess around with a team in this big of a spread against this good of a defense.
Let me tell you that Colin Sexton's 29% versus the 15. Let's say 30, make it easy. Does that change your opinion on him, or you still want to play him? You're still fine with him at 30%.
Feels like a lot. I don't necessarily think that he should be that high owned because the I don't think that he's guaranteed to be playing these 30 minutes that we've seen from him these last two games. They definitely could come back down. Like he's in like the low 20s most nights. I think he's just a little bit too good for the Bulls. Like they definitely want to be losing games
Yeah.
right now.
And I mean, they very well might be. They probably will be able to lose it even if Colin Sexton played a good game. But
Yeah.
it's because it's the guard forward eligibility that he has at 5K that I think can lead him to a lot of teams. If just say one of Richards or Yabusele was out, would that get you on the other one? I feel like Yabusele would be easier because of the power forward eligibility. But I mean, like if there's no Yabu, like they're going to need Richard's size. Granted, he could get in early foul trouble and all that, but assuming one of them's out, would you have interest in the other, or would it be dependent on which one's out?
Um, I don't know if it necessarily does enough to bring these guys into play. I don't think I would be getting to either one of them, honestly. But I do see that our guy Ross said Ulbrich started in the second half over who was it? Over Leonard Miller, I
Leonard
believe.
Miller.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if both those guys miss and you're telling me Ulbricht's gonna be playing like 25 minutes, then I think you got to consider him.
Yeah, that makes sense. 3.9K. I guess who would it? Let's just say him versus Garza. Like we're getting that situation. That'd be a big decision for a lot of people.
Yeah, it would. I think I would probably go with Ulbrich if both those guys miss, honestly.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we're hoping we get that news not just at 7:30 Eastern. Like if you get that news 45 minutes prior, you would be able to make that decision between Ulbrich or Garza. You could also play both, and then I mean the problem with playing both is your Wemby's just center eligible, so you're playing Jalen Johnson, Max. It'll get you on a different build. So I guess you could do that, but you would need them both to start. Probably no Richard and Yabu together, or both of them being out. Excuse me. All right, next game on the slate. Appreciate everyone hanging out. All 200 watching. NBA still kicking. The prizes have went down a little bit, unfortunately, but hey, good viewership. Prizes if you take first place, second place, third place. I promise you are still happy. So I'm still in the streets. I know Rio's still in the streets. MLB again will be coming up in 30 minutes. After this show, we will have Matt and Nades talking some baseball for a nice slate tonight. $5 action out there too. 50,000 to first. I know Rio's favorite. Loves his $5. Next game on the slate, the Phoenix Suns and the Memphis Grizzlies. 12.5-point favorites are the Suns. 229.5 total in this one. On the Phoenix side, Grayson Allen is questionable. As far as Memphis, no Jalen Wells, Prosper, Javon Small, Taj Gibson doubtful, Walter Clayton, Giroux, both questionable. That's a lot of moving parts on the Memphis side, but I mean, that stuff's important. Walter Clayton and Giroux both questionable. You already can see they don't have the most amount of bodies. Yeah, I think that brings Cedric Howard, Cam Spencer, maybe even Meshack down there and play a little bit. So, I mean, the highest price guy on the Grizzlies is 5.7K right now. So even though they are pretty big underdogs, like this feels like the spot. And it's not going to sneak past anyone, but if you need value, it feels the most comfortable. Now, with that being said, if Giroux and Clayton both play, like there's still plenty of ways that this can fail. But I guess do you have a good read if it does blow out? Who's kind of getting that garbage time at the end run?
No, I don't because at least from a couple weeks ago, the way that they were doing the rotations, it was like um like the kind of like a line change like in hockey. Like they just took these guys out at the exact like there was no cut. Like if somebody's doing well, it didn't matter. They're gonna pull them
No rhyme or
regardless.
reason. They just
Yeah.
was it 5v5 hockey change or was it 3v3?
It
Like,
was like three, I think it was mostly threes, but
okay.
like it didn't matter if somebody was hot, they were getting pulled at like they were trying to keep everybody with flat minutes throughout the
Yeah.
whole thing. So I don't think that it really matters too much who's in or out during blowout. Like they'll be playing coward in blowout for a little bit. They'll play GG a little bit. Like they're not gonna pull them just because the game isn't close. They're gonna get their normal rotation regardless. Um, so I guess with that said, if if they have 10 guys tonight, then it's a max two of Memphis. It's kind of what I've always been doing this season with them. I think that they get a little bit overplayed for how often they are actually optimal. But I do think that Cam Spencer in particular looks really good. Like I think I have him ahead of Pele. I have him ahead of Colin Sexton with the same eligibility. He's cheaper than both those guys, and I think just a much better option at just with the upside that he has. So he's definitely my favorite option. I think that if Clayton and or one of Clayton or Jerome miss, those guys have been taking on a lot of ball handling lately, and that would only benefit Cam Spencer more. So I think there's a lot to like about Spencer tonight. Either way, he can only get a lot better if those guys were to miss. I think Coward is interesting because he's the most expensive and probably going to be the lowest owned. There was some positive speak about him from the Memphis Grizzlies head coach. Basically said like he's the guy that we're looking to develop right now. Like he's going to be the focal point of the offense. You saw 19 shots last game against Chicago, filled up the stat sheet, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals. Like he's a really really good player, and I don't think that Phoenix is that great defensively right now with no Mark Williams and no Dylan Brooks. I think that Coward is kind of an interesting option at that price tag. I imagine he'd probably stay pretty low owned. Um, if Hendricks is owned, I want to get away from that because I just don't think he's a very good permanent producer. GG, I guess, is fine. Never really loved playing him. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of just follow projections with this one, but I would say that Spencer for sure is my favorite, and then Cedric Howard kind of a close second. For the Sun side of things, I mean Booker and Jalen Green are going to have their way with the Memphis defense. I mean this team is getting beat everywhere, but their rim defense has been awful as well as the rebounding, but they do give up a lot of threes as well. We saw a lot of the offense running through Jalen Green last game versus Utah. They were trying to get him downhill to the basket, and this is a much better matchup than that one versus Utah because they just have no size in Memphis. They're one of the worst rim defenses in the league over the last month or two. So I do think that if we can get a close enough game where we get 28 to 32 minutes from Jalen Green, he has a really, really good chance of putting up a big score here. So I'm definitely interested in Jalen Green tonight in particular. I think Oso has a good matchup. Just don't really know if the upside is there for him. Royce is pretty good at 4.6K, good 3-point shooter versus a bad 3-point defense. And I think Booker might be priced out for me. I think I want to get to him, and he seems like one of those guys that would like get up for like a really big game and probably take more of a backseat against a team like Memphis and kind of let the other guys cook a little bit. So I'm in on Jalen Green tonight for sure, though.
All right. I mean, yeah, definitely going to be contrarian spend is Green. I do think Hendricks, like you said, he's going to, I would take the over 11%. Now, all these Memphis guys are kind of going to eat into each other. If Jerome and Clayton are out, then yeah, you're going to see like Cam Spencer will be one of the chalkier options. I think Howard probably then gets some ownership. All these Memphis guys would. If just one of them are out, I think the other that's in of Jerome and Clayton would definitely be pretty popular since their ball handling would go up a lot. And if both are in, I think they both kind of just eat into each other a little bit. Maybe more Clayton or maybe whoever starts. How would you put Colin Sexton, who we just talked about, against some of these? Because he's guard and forward eligibility against some of these like Hendricks, Jacksons, even Clayton's, Cam Spencer. I guess you can throw Sam Merrill in too. I think he's going to be another one of the value plays that gets a good amount of ownership. So I think it's probably those two. And then, yeah, like you mentioned, Pele Larson a little bit, but then it's the Memphis guys.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that if these are you saying if these guys are out, Jerome and Clayton are
No,
out,
no.
then I
If
would.
they're out, I feel like Memphis guys have to be better. Assuming they're in, I think it's more of a question.
Yeah, if that's the case, then I'd rather play Sexton over Hendricks, but probably not ahead of GG. Um, but yeah, I mean he's pretty far behind Cam Spencer for me. Cam Spencer is definitely probably the number one value play I'm looking at right now. Yeah, I would definitely have Sexton ahead of Hendricks, but probably behind those other guys.
Do you have a lean on the Grayson Q tag? This game is at 8 Eastern, but people are saying like if no Grayson, Con Gillespie, we're talking good win again. So he did come back and he played 20 minutes, but he had a day off. Do they play tomorrow? I should look at that because it'd be smart. Yeah, they do play the Magic tomorrow on the road. So I guess if you're just like thinking logically, I mean, maybe he's kind of up to speed and it's just more of a minutes conditioning thing now. But do you have any lean on his status? And then would you be going to Gillespie or Goodwin if he's out?
I don't have a lean, but he's been dealing with this knee injury all season, so I feel like if there is a time to give him a night off, a game against Memphis is probably that time. Probably want him more against a team like the Magic. And yeah, if he's out, then I think you can get into like the good ones, and Gillespie would definitely get a little bit better. Probably make Jalen Green and Booker and Royce look a lot better as well. Um, I guess Goodwin would be a guy that I'd be looking at mostly. I do like playing Gillespie a lot, but I don't know. Just feels like with Green getting more acclimated and healthier, he's taken like a pretty big backseat, and if he's not knocking down his shots, it's tough for him to reach a had to have score. So I think I probably would go with Goodwin. Just kind of worry that they would spread out the rotation a little bit more, and it's against a team like Memphis, like they wouldn't necessarily be running up Goodwin to like 30 minutes. I don't think that he'd be like a must-have value play by any means if Grayson were to be out.
All right. Great breakdown, as always. Keep it rolling. Next game on the slate, the Minnesota Timberwolves. 7.5-point favorites over the Dallas Mavericks. 235.5 total. Jaden McDaniels is out for the Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards is questionable on the Dallas side. Caleb Martin doubtful. And then PJ, Najee Marshall, and Marvin Bagley all questionable. Those are some important Q tags. But yeah, I mean, this game at 8:30 Eastern, assuming we don't get it 30 minutes. If we get it prior to like 10 minutes before this Bulls game and the Suns game, then you'll have more spots to make changes. But assuming like it's a minute before, if it's at 7:59 or 8 on the dot, I'm not exactly sure how much flexibility you'll have if you do not plan for it. So yeah, what are your thoughts? And is there any merit to backloading? And then do you have a lean on? I mean, there's a lot of Q takes and they're important ones in this game.
I don't know about the Dallas stuff, really. Illnesses are never great, and two guys from the same team having one kind of, could be something in the locker room that keeps them out. So there's a chance that both Najee and PJ were to miss, but I don't really have a strong lean there, so definitely kind of flying blind. But for Ant, I do think Ant is back tonight. This is kind of he can't miss another game, or he will be ineligible for NBA awards. I think he's up for maybe Clutch Player of the Year. I don't know if you have like the market stuff
I'm
pulled up.
gonna
I know
pull it
he's
up
in.
right now.
Yeah,
What
he's
kind
in
of
the running for
award's
something.
that though? And when did
Uh,
that start?
I think they've had
Clutch
it
is
for
get
a little bit.
and that's the Clutch is minus 900 SGA.
Oh, okay, he's up for something. I think, or maybe it's like all NBA team, things like that. But he can't miss another game because then he'll be ineligible. So feel like he's back, and I feel like they are like this could be a situation that was similar to Jokic. If you guys remember, like when he returned, he was kind of like he was pretty limited and wasn't didn't really look like himself. And I think that they were kind of rushing him back just to make sure that he was eligible for like MVP and all these other things. So it could be a situation like that with Ant where he's playing like mid to upper 20s minutes and wouldn't be full. Like he might be still dealing with the knee injury because they initially said like a couple weeks, but um, Jaden McDaniels also got injured, so maybe there's something going on there where they need to rush him back. But I don't know. I'm a little bit worried about the minutes range for Ant because I do think that he's a guy that is pretty durable, and if he's playing, he's going to play his full minutes. But just kind of I don't know some question marks about his minutes tonight. I don't really think that I'm going to be considering him tonight, just even with how good the matchup is. Just too concerned about the knee thing for him, but I think Randall is in play for sure. This is a homecoming game for him. He'll have a ton of people in the stands, and he's played very well against Dallas. He's played again or at Dallas 3 times as a member of the Wolves, averaging 42.5 DK points per game. Hasn't really had like a really big score just yet, but I do think that this is a pretty good spot for him tonight because Dallas is very poor at the way that he likes to score defensively really good or really bad rim defense. I think that Randall is for sure in play. Don't think I'm gonna get there to Rudy. And then Naz Reid is a guy that's probably gonna be asked to do a lot more with Jaden McDaniels out. I kind of find him a tougher fade just because he's so cheap and has good eligibility, but he's been dealing with the shoulder injury for a couple games and I mean, he's shooting horribly because of the shoulder. Like a lot of the beat writers and all the reporting around is that's kind of the reason he's shooting bad, but he's shooting 20% from three over the last 6 games. I don't know, there's like chance that he could be a decent fade, but I'd probably be playing him in single entry and then trying to figure out what to do in MME because I'm just a little bit worried about the shoulder thing for him. He did come through in a pretty big way against Houston, got the double-double, played 31 minutes, so that was good to see. But yeah, still not shooting the ball great right now. I think that's it for the Wolves. Really, I think that all these guys are pretty much in play because it's a great matchup, but some concerns about some of these guys
Well,
on the.
to
Oh, go
say
ahead.
quick, the concern like you have with Ant, that can only help a Randall or a Nas, Dante, some of these other guys more where it's not even going to be baked into projection that way. So the Julius Randall call, I'm like someone brought up narrative in MLB, you know what I mean? Like that's the last thing
Yeah,
I could care about there. But I totally buy in certain spots, especially when the spread's maybe a little bigger or it's already like an okay spot, and then you're just oh yeah, I mean his Julius Randle of all people too. I mean this dude just puts his head down half the time and doesn't even look up. So yeah, maybe he does that a couple more times in a game like this with all of his family there and he wants to show out. I tell myself stories like that in the NBA all the time. So yeah, and if Ant is limited or more reserved and stuff like that, I mean, it's only benefits these guys, and that's not going to be shown in projections. So I like that a lot.
so you tell me you didn't believe the Tyler O'Neill opening day home run,
Yeah,
and
if you
I
want,
heard you talking about that.
yeah. No one slid in the DMs, no free cheese, but yeah, that's or what? I don't know. There was another one. I don't know if it was this going against an old pitcher or this or that. Like, I guess if you're trying to talk me into anything, like a little rant. But yeah, I guess if you were the catcher of a pitcher that you caught for so many years, that's the one maybe I could get behind since is pitch mix, this and that. But other than that, baseball's so hard as it is. These guys are always trying every at bat, whether
Yeah,
it's mid-July when 20 people are in the stands for the Oakland A's. These guys are still trying to do their job. Whereas I think the motivation level, you bring it up sometimes, is different for some of these guys. Devin Booker against Memphis, you just talked about, versus Boston or whatever it may be in November. So yeah, yeah. I mean that's a whole other talk too. Talking about batter versus BVP. That's a whole discussion. And I don't know. We'll probably never know what's right or what's wrong. It probably differs from each person, but that's the rant.
yeah.
We can keep going back to this game.
I was gonna say it depends who you ask. I feel like that the BVP stuff is a
Exactly.
hot topic.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the Dallas side, I'm pretty interested in Cooper Flag here. He did, and the price is up there, only point guard eligible now, so you might be getting a discounted ownership on him because he's normally had that point guard small forward. But definitely earned the price tag. The minutes are way up there. There's no restriction. His role has been really good, uptick in drives and touch time. You also have Jaden McDaniels out, so the same thing I mentioned with Kada. Like they're gonna be without their best, literally their like one of the best defenders at slowing down a guy like Cooper Flag. Like look what McDaniels did to Kevin Durant. They're gonna be without that type of defender. Like I really do think that Flag has a very, very strong case for upside tonight. The pick and roll defense for the Wolves still one of the worst in the NBA. I believe they are dead last in pick and roll defense. There's really a lot working in Cooper Flag's favor tonight. Um, yes, I'm in on him. Just I think that he's a really really strong option tonight at 9.2K. I also have I guess I don't know if it's narrative but like the rookie of the year race definitely coming down to the wire. And I think that he's making a strong case for it right now.
Khan's pulled
Um,
away since we've talked last. Not pulled away, but it's now minus 250, I believe I just saw.
oh, okay, maybe I'm wrong there, but Flag's
I
been
mean,
playing
that's
great.
close. Minus
Yeah.
250 versus these other ones are actually no, it's SGA and Wemby are pretty close for MVP. It was like
Hmm.
minus 900 now down to minus 225. I mean, we see stuff like that all the time. UConn just won as a plus 200 dog. You see it in the MMA streets all the time. Like that. That's not as crazy as we think now. Plus 250, minus 250, plus 195.
Um, yeah. So Flag, very in on him tonight, and then Gafford is a guy that I will be getting to a little bit. 4.9K is a really good price tag for him, regardless of matchup. He's been playing really good, and then also if Bagley were to miss, probably a little bit more minutes going his way because I don't think that they want to play Dwight Powell much. And then also PJ Washington being out kind of eliminates the small ball lineup, so you could definitely make the case that Gafford probably playing like 27 to 28 minutes a night, which would always be something I'm looking to play.
Did you mention? I was just looking at some real quick, like the PJ Bagley and Najee. You don't know about the Q tags, but just say they're all going to miss, like the Chris Middletons, the Christies, Clay, Brandon Williams. It obviously only helps Flag, but where would those guys then line up against Memphis value in some of these other spots?
Yeah, I guess it would depend on who's in or out for Memphis. Because if they have all their 10 guys, like I
Let's
would
assume they're
much.
in.
Okay, then yeah, I'd rather play the Dallas guys, and I'd be getting to. I mean, Flag would be really good. I think that you're probably considering Clay now. Like Middleton would probably be back in play now. I think he's pretty cheap too. He has only 3.4K. Like these guys are super cheap, and they will have real roles. So I would probably, yeah, I think that I would probably play the Dallas guys over Memphis if we get those guys out.
All right, cool. Let's take it into the last game of the night. Again, appreciate everyone hanging out. All we ask, like button, subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. And again, if you do want to join the nation, shippination.com. You can see right here, show it off real quick. Join the nation, bottom left, and then you can have multiple different packages. 5 days for $19 is the best deal, in my opinion, to try out MLB, MMA, NASCAR, PGA, NBA, NHL, all the sports going on. What a great time of the year it is. You get the Discord, you get Saber Sim. Do have just NBA too if you want to take it through the playoffs. MLB, MMA, I mean, a lot of single sports, all access. The more you're with us, the longer you are with us, I should say, the cheaper it is. Different Saber Sim packages as well. You can check out everything over here at Join the Nation. Last game of the night, the Cleveland Cavaliers and Rio's Utah Jazz. 16.5-point favorites are the Cavs. 241.5 total in this one. On the Cleveland side, no Jarrett Allen, no Dean Wade, no Max Strus, no Jalen Tyson. On the Utah side, no new injuries to talk about here. So, yeah, really big spread in this one, like there was on the San Antonio game, but it is getting ownership. All the ownership is going to the Cavs side. Now, with that being said, I don't necessarily know how much I believe that these guys are going to be 25, 21, 21. If we're talking about like some of the Celtics guys being more chalky, or maybe Memphis or Sexton being more popular, it has to come from somewhere. And right now, if I had to poke holes at ownership right now, I think I would take some off of these Cleveland spot, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you see it differently. They're relatively, I mean, they're thin, but they're not thin, and a really big spread still with Harden and Mitchell that are taking a lot of the usage. So, I mean, if all of this ownership's accurate, I'm hardly going here at all, but I actually thought Sam Merrill would be the chalkiest value on Cleveland, or at least one of them. So maybe I'm seeing it wrong, but take away your Utah and the Cleveland side.
I think you made a good point though. Like if these guys are this highly owned, then like you're probably it sounds like you're making the case to like be underweight them then.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think there's there's so much other, we've talked about a plethora of value or something on this slate that I almost think's better in a vacuum. Like it's still Harden and Mitchell that are going to be running the show. And yeah, Merrill will have his spot up threes. Mobley's still there. Like it's not like these guys are just getting a huge usage bump or all this. So I most definitely, Memphis looks like the best spot, especially if one or Clayton or Jerome are out. Like, I mean, yeah, they're playing their rotations. So you're not worried about bullet run. You know, you're not going to get a ton of minutes, but when the highest price guy is 5.7K, feels like someone's at least going to get there.
I would imagine that ownership pulls away from this game the more, like the closer we get to lock, like imagining that the Memphis guys are out or we get the like more clarity on the Dallas stuff. Like it can only take away from the Cleveland guys, I would imagine, which I guess then would kind of make them more interesting because I don't think that these guys are going to fail. Like they're going to have a lot of offensive success here. It's just mainly that the game is going to blow out and they are not as thin as some of those other teams. But I could see like a situation if Merrill, the ownership comes back down to like single digits, then I'd be pretty interested because it's a great matchup for him. I guess there's also some narratives here too in this game. Obviously, the obvious one is Donovan Mitchell. This will be his third time playing at Utah. Last year, he didn't play a ton because it was a huge blowout. He only put up 16, 3, and 4. But then the first time they played, went for 46, 5, and 6. I think if the game is close, and I actually do think that Utah could hang around more than like a Bulls can. I think that Memphis, I already said Memphis, I think can hang around. But I think that Utah is definitely capable of hanging around, and they're going to be playing guys like they're better players, and not like Ace and Sensabaugh and Filipowski normal minutes because they know that they're probably going to lose this one. But I mean, they hung around with Denver, like borderline won that game. Obviously, kind of crumbled at the end, which was great. But they can hang around with these teams, and then you get like kind of the perfect storm where it's really high scoring. There's very little defense played, and the studs play their normal minutes and just go off. Like we saw Jamal and Jokic have huge games against the Jazz and close ones. So I do think that if we run into the perfect scenario like that, then guys like Mitchell and Harden and Mobley have to be in play. I think that Mobley is kind of great regardless here, mainly because the price tag is down to 8.4K. But with Jared Allen out, he really sees a big, big boost, and his role changes a lot too. He kind of operates more off ball, like they kind of put him in the corner when it's Jared Allen and James Harden and all those guys on the court together, because Allen and Harden have shown so much chemistry together, but they're going to definitely be looking to get him more involved as a pick and roll partner with James Harden tonight. And we know that you can really get unlocked some really big games when you get that pairing with Harden. So I think that Mobley, very, very strong option tonight. Love attacking Kyle Filipowski. He's an awful defender. They have a very young team, turnover prone team. I think they could really, really fill it up tonight. So I'm in on him. I think Harden's probably my least favorite of the three, but the role is great for him. 7 minutes of touch time per game with Cleveland. Love the matchup, but I think that the upside is better for Mitchell and Mobley.
Has Harden ever got there, bro?
He had like a 60-point game once recently.
65, like 2.5 weeks ago. Other than that, I mean, January 19th was the last time he scored 60 over 60, which is 60.75. I can't do it, man. Especially on, it feels like when D Mitch is like, if there's a spot, it's gonna, you know what I mean? Like we talk about,
Yeah.
Harden knows if he's going back to Houston, I would trust D Mitch to defer a little more. Like these dudes are humans; they know how it is. So, I mean, yeah, it feels like he needs like a 15 assist game, and then his scoring is probably way down. So, but I always am D Mitch over Harden.
I'm sure a lot of people have killed the Jazz over the years, but I feel like Harden in particular has done great against them like the last couple seasons.
It's so hard though for his roles have changed almost every single season, and sometimes like during what part of the season is a different Harden and stuff. Whether like I feel like when he started with Embiid, he took a little more of a backseat, but there were some times where it needed to be ISO Harden. So I don't know. It just feels like one of those spots. He's at this point in his career, he's totally fine picking and choosing his spots, and this feels like a Donovan Mitchell spot.
Yeah, I agree there. And then I would definitely be keeping in Schroeder and I think Thomas Bryant and then Tomlin are all guys that should probably be in the player pool tonight. If they get more run because of blowout, then definitely could see them hitting in a big way. Thomas Bryant in particular, he's done pretty well in some blowout games. On the Utah side, tougher to pin down because you don't really know if they're going to have success or not. But I think in these games where big blowout concerns like a game like Denver, they'll be playing their normal, like their good guys, normal minutes. I think that Ace, Filipowski, and Sensabaugh, you're getting them at basically no ownership, and we've seen all these guys have tournament-winning ceilings at times this season. I think Ace is interesting. I want to continue to play him because they are really focusing in or on him as the number one offensive weapon for Utah, and I just don't really think Cleveland's that great defensively, especially with Jared Allen out. He's not going to have Evan Mobley on him, so it'll be like who they're going to be starting. Yeah, like Ellis on him probably. He just has a size advantage there, and he's just playing great right now. So I'm interested in Ace for sure, and then same thing for Filipowski. He kind of gets used on ball a little bit more when they have this type of roster. And then Sensabaugh, the guy that just has really good scoring upside. But these guys are not cheap, and they'll be really low owned. So I'm in on those three in particular. I think that the guys like Chandler and Cody Williams, Harkless, I don't think anybody else is really in play for Utah. Maybe Conchar, the 4.9K, just because he can fill up the stat sheet, but it's really just Ace and Filipowski and Sensabaugh for me.
And are you more likely to play Mobley or Donovan Mitchell when playing one of them? That feels like that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that makes sense. Good breakdown. I mean, so again, FanDuel does have 2 more games. We're not going to assess. We always talk about the DK slate. You can find FanDuel projections and ownership right here. Projections, FanDuel. The Stone also does show and cover that. But yeah, I always in NBA, you have to be around for injury news. You cannot, like that 5:30 or 8:30 Eastern game on the Dallas side. And even if Anthony Edwards does miss, if we get that wrong, but the PJs, like Q tags stuff will pop up. Starting lineups can differ throughout the night as well. Projections, of course, will continue to be updated. And again, getting in the Discord is a very big piece of our product. Shout out to Rio, Matt, Ham, the NBA crew, especially Rio, though, heads it up, takes charge. And now that MLB is going on, yeah, we kind of split up stuff. You will find Matt, who's usually on NBA shows. He's going to come up and be talking some MLB. He also will be on some NBA shows to close out the year as well. But yeah, double headers. Again, if you hit that subscribe button, you'll get notified every time we do go live. Like button helps us out a ton. Slate plan will be up for the NBA streets, the MLB streets, all of our content for all these sports above going on. Again, $19 you can get in for 5 days, which is an awesome deal right now with so many sports going on and access to the Discord and Saber Sim like we are showing off. Appreciate that, Colin. Hope you're doing well. Rio, final thoughts before we get on out of here?
No, I'll be tuning in to the MLB show in a couple minutes, put it on the big screen, and I think this is Matt's first MLB show this year, and I'm excited to hear his thoughts. One of the better DFS players out there, more of like a 3 to 5 lineup guy, but yeah, he crushes it, so excited for that.
Absolutely. And can't leave our
And
man,
also
Big
big
Nate.
nades. Yeah, can't leave out nades, obviously.
Can't leave out Big Nades as well. So excited for that one. Yeah, you can just hop on over shippination.com, click the Shipping Nation on YouTube, click that MLB link. They will be going live in a couple minutes. Great stuff, Rio. I believe it's you and I back tomorrow. I think I have a double header actually tomorrow talking both sports. But yeah, again, we'll have you covered to close out the year, MLB and NBA. Appreciate it, everyone. Like button helps us out. Good luck in your contest for Rio on Titletown. Be safe. Good luck. Peace.